Welcome to Paws Between Us and your regular dose of positive pet news. Every other week, we bring you a short, uplifting episode packed with the latest feel-good stories and research from the world of pets.
So take a moment to tune out from the negative news dominating our headlines and help us shine a light on the good, celebrating the joy pets bring to our lives and sharing the inspiring changes making their lives better too.
So settle in for a short pause and let's spread some positivity together.
Yes, let's.
Indeed. As always.
Because there's still lots of negativity going on. There always will be. So let's try and find the light in the dark.
Yeah. And I think it's worth just maybe recapping on these short pause because we've done a few now and they run alongside, our long pause. And the long pause is where we invite guest speakers on to chat to us, people that are really passionate about pets as we are, and people that come from all walks of life and have lots of different experiences and views to share on all types of pets, actually. It doesn't have to just be cats and dogs. But the short pause that we're focusing on today is where we're looking at the news that's out there and, positive news for pets that we feel are worth a mention and worth a shout out because, I think it's stuff that basically is designed to make our pets' lives better, hopefully. We try not to touch too much on the negative stuff, but on the positive things that are happening around the world that we think are worthy of sharing. So, or actually also things that just interest us and that have caught our eye and we think, this might be worth a bit of a discussion.
Yeah. And I suppose to say, we aren't the experts in these discussions. So, take what we say as just our lay take on a lot of this stuff.
Yes,
we've had different, we've read a little bit into it and we've kind of come at it with a little bit of education, but we are by no means experts in this field. So we're just discussing it as pet owners and as with the sort of knowledge we're building up over the weeks and trying to sort of just understand it from a little bit of a balanced perspective. So,
Yeah. So what's caught your eye then recently in the news or that's out there?
Yeah, there's been, I suppose, an overall comment because I seeing a lot on LinkedIn. I'm sort of following a lot of people and commenting a lot of things and finding some really interesting and sort of moving the dial on animal welfare. And I don't know if it's just because I'm now in that space and this has always been the case, but I've never been more encouraged by what's happening in the world of animals because there just seems to be so many advancements, so many people caring for, so many people wanting change, so many things where animal sentience is being recognised in all kinds of animals. I mean, I've been spotting a lot about crustaceans and things and how people want to push, better welfare for farm animals, which, I mean, God, is awful. I don't even like to think about that.
No, I know.
But that's the positive side of it is I think I'm being quite encouraged by lots more people talking about it. And that's just a general comment. It's not nothing I've particularly dived into, but and I think the flip side of that is actually lots of people who work in the animal world. We've touched on this actually, struggling with their own, I suppose, mental health around it and dealing with the difficulties that they see every day. And what a toil that plays on people. And that's down to your vets and up to animal behaviourists and people like us who just read stories about what's happening in the animal world. So there's another thing there, just be kind to people who are trying to make the world kinder for animals. It's, the people behind it are trying to do their best as well and are bearing the burden of forwarding better welfare for our lovely animals, but God bless them and glad they do.
Yeah. And that's it. Sometimes it's not always the obvious kind of roles, is it, for people that you say that are helping animals? Sometimes it's in an indirect way. You might have people who are social workers or people working with vulnerable people, and actually they're also get involved then in the animal welfare side of things. Yeah, it is. I suppose what I'm trying to say isn't always the animal rescue charities. They're an obvious one, but it isn't. Yeah, there's lots of people who touch pets' lives in some way. I think it was interesting when we did our podcast a few months ago with Rachel from Nose to Trail, and we touched a little bit then, didn't we, on burnout in that industry or in the dog training industry, because if you are working with dogs who are maybe a little bit more difficult or need that little bit of extra help, you do worry about them, and you do take your job home with you, and that's not always an obvious one. You think, oh, if you're an animal trainer or a dog behaviorist or a nutritionist or whatever, you kind of, oh, it must be all like fun and games, but it's not always. It can be really hard, and especially if the dog or a cat is unwell and you're having to help them somehow.
That's a good point. Yeah. So interesting, what we've sort of touched on before as well is like not judging a situation by what you see at that moment. And people make judgments a lot about, oh, look at that cat in a harness. Why is a cat in a harness? Or why that dog's in a pushchair, stroller? Why the cats are kept inside? Why a dog is limping? There's like seeing a snippet into somebody's life with their animal isn't necessarily the full story as well. So I suppose I'm also saying to people, like, don't judge the situation by what you immediately see.
Yes.
Try to understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. As someone who does have to use a stroller for Betty and gets all sorts of reactions, people just making a judgment on what they see there in front of them rather than understanding what Betty's experiencing and what I'm supporting her with. So,
yeah, do you know what, actually, since we've been doing this session, you've been talking about the stroller and Betty. When I see dogs in strollers, it's much more normalised now, because it wasn't before for me. And I was like, oh, I never thought negatively, because why would you? But I was a bit like, oh, why is the dog in a stroller?
Yeah.
Now I understand that they're possibly elderly, and actually this is a great way to get them out and about still and not let them be locked indoors. So yeah, just stop and think, people.
Indeed. Yeah, don't judge. Never judge.
Anyway, so, sorry, off on a complete tangent then. The other thing I was going to talk about was the anthropomorphising thing, which we have touched on in a short pause before. So I thought it'd be good to just have a tiny bit of conversation around it. Again, by no means am I an expert, and by no means can I kind of provide a full and scientific insight into this. But so when we're talking about like anthropomorphizing our animals, I suppose it's about kind of putting human emotions, human reactions and thoughts onto an animal. So like thinking like, oh, the dog's looking guilty, or the cat is smiling, or it's grumpy, or like, I don't know, the shark is evil, things like that. And we often do it a lot. It's sort of, I mean, I'm kind of very bad for doing it. It's normal because humans are hardwired to look for human-like patterns in things, and it helps us to kind of understand the world and build logic around it, and it helps us to move and think forwards about why things are happening. So it's normal, and it's like, you know, we see faces in clouds and we see faces in patterns. It's just part of our makeup. But it can be at the detriment sometimes of animals, because we think they're behaving in a human way when maybe they're not either capable or they're not reacting in the way that we would as a human. I suppose it's just like thinking about even human to human. We're all different. We all respond differently to stimulus. We all have our own thoughts about different things. And if you take it then to an animal level, it goes even further than that. So you can't put your feelings onto the pet. So like, you know, but I mean, it does help, because it helps you build a bond, and it helps people to kind of want to care, because you feel like they're your friend and you understand them. And I think there is a lot of understanding, and I think we do learn a lot. I mean, one of the things I read was that many behavioural researchers will recognise the sort of anthropomorphizing of things, because it kind of gives a starting hypothesis. It like makes us kind of think about how, but then it's like testing it against actual evidence, and using your knowledge of the species sort of biology and their behaviour and where they live, and kind of, you know, their instinctual behaviours that come through, and then using that as a place to build upon. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting, because I always think my cats are sad, or my cats are happy, or they're being a little bit cheeky, and I don't know. What scientists think is that animals have got emotions, and they are sentient. They can kind of respond to stimulus. They have stressors, but they may not have that deeper level of morality. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel jealousy. They're not evil. But I don't know, because I think science is interesting because science is very good and it kind of helps you to measure things properly. But sometimes science can be a bit behind. And it's only been recently that they've been talking about sentience. And like I've been for years going, well, of course animals feel emotions. Duh. Like, of course animals will get stressed. Of course animals can be happy and sad. And now it's talked about a little bit more acceptably. I don't know whether I was naive or stupid or ahead of the curve or what, but I always thought this, and I was always really annoyed that people put animals in this box of they're just a being and they just act instinctively or whatever the thinking was back then. I always thought that animals had more to them than we give them credit for, but there's lots of things happening, it feels like, at the moment to sort of understand animals better, which I think is perfectly brilliant.
It is.
What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of gone quiet here because I'm just deep in thought, listening to what you're saying and thinking about it. And there's so many things there, isn't there, that you've touched on. I mean, firstly, well done on being able to pronounce the term, because it's something that I cannot get my mouth around. I
struggled last week and I'm amazed I did it well today.
You've been practicing it, haven't you? That's the thing. And yeah, I mean, just before we started recording the podcast, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about animals or pets being able to understand human behaviours and the impact that our behaviours or emotions might also have on them. If they kind of, like a dog can tell if you're upset or worried and offer some comfort. And again, if that's true, then if they can sense emotions or behaviours in humans, then surely they have also emotions and behaviours themselves. I don't know. I mean, I think one of the things I'm coming at this from a dog perspective, is one of the good things about being a dog mom or a dog dad is learning how to read your dog's body language and understand their behaviours. And every dog is unique with their own quirks and challenges. And there's lots that you can do to learn about dog body language online through some of the charities like the Dogs Trust or the RSPCA. And like you say, they might not always be what you think they are or that you make an assumption about. So one example is Betty loves her food. She's food obsessed. Give her dinner, it's never quite enough. And when we do say no more, you've had enough food or treats, my husband and I will go, oh, she's sulking now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's probably not sulking, is she? But we're just interpreting that as she sort of lays down and puts her head down. She's a bit like looks up at us with sort of her eyes as if to say, I'm really annoyed that you're not giving me any more food. I don't know. Is that kind of like...
Is it
what we think it is? Or is it just something completely different?
I would agree, though. I would think that was sulking. But maybe we're naive and wrong. I don't know. But I think they are capable of more than even we're saying here. I think that some of the dangers, I think, are like if you're forcing certain things on the animal. So like you think hugging for us is a great thing. Hugging for dogs can be distressing, or they might just find that a bit restrictive. Same with cats. Like I learned the other day, because I really want to pick up my cats and cuddle them. I love picking them up here and holding them. They don't like it. My old cats loved it. These don't like it. But I read the other day that something to do with gravity and cats being picked up is linked to kind of a fear of being attacked from above, from like big birds and things.
Okay.
So they don't always like it. So you kind of have to sort of respect the animal and not force your feelings on them in that way. But things like that, I would be like, yeah, it's definitely sulking. But
yeah, I love picking Betty up and I love giving her lots of kind of kisses and giving her a little cuddle. But I also respect the fact that if she's a bit stressed or she's a bit hot, she doesn't want to be kind of held. And sometimes on an evening I'll put her on the sofa, have a little cuddle. And after a while, she's kind of done. She wants to kind of either get off the sofa or go at the end of the sofa and get into her like comfortable position. So I suppose it's a bit like sharing a bed with someone. After a while, you're like, oh, I need a bit more space. You're kind of too close. You're cuddling up to me and I don't like it after a while. I don't know. But it is, I think, learning about dog and cat behaviour and behaviour of other animals is really important, so that you're not making assumptions and that you're not kind of.
I think that's it, isn't it? Like having a basic understanding, and so you're not treating them like a small child.
No,
which will have different needs to a one of your pets.
Yeah, and I'd say, Betty is a fairly calm, chill dog, and people say, is it her, or is it the breed, or is it, I don't know, that whole thing around nature versus nurture, because I like to think that she has a calm environment and, give her lots of love. She feels quite a confident dog. I don't know. And again, just assuming that me giving her lots of love and attention just makes her a well-rounded dog. But there's a lot more to it than that, clearly.
Yeah, like you say. I mean, but like, yeah, I know. Yeah, there's routine and other kind of like things that dogs like. So it's just about, understanding how animals see the world, not putting your view on the world onto them.
Yeah. No, well said. I think that's a good way to finish that bit of news, because it's, very true. And a big topic we should look more into. So for me, something I've been reading recently, which has just come out in the past week or two, is a new dog ownership guide, and it provides a universal definition of what is considered to be responsible dog ownership. And it's created in partnership with the Dogs Trust and the RSPCA. And it's designed to help both new and experienced dog owners have a better, more consistent understanding of what it means to be a responsible dog owner. And I think, the aim is to ensure that everyone sort of is in a society where dogs, their owners, and the wider community live peacefully side by side. And the hope is that by following the key themes of the guide, that we can take giant steps towards that future. So having happier dogs, more harmonious and loving dog owner relationships, and ultimately fewer dog control incidents over time, protecting more people, dogs and other animals from harm. But it's not a particularly long document, so it's something you can easily read while having a cup of tea. And it does touch on behaviours, which is just that we've sort of talked about, ensuring that you're providing for a dog's welfare needs, and that you're preparing your home and outdoor space for a dog. And, you think about the training that your dog might need to get important life skills and behaviours, so positive reward methods. And then, caring for your dog's behavioural health. So things like that. And then, which is nice. But then there's a bit like we just talked on as well, is about dogs' body language and understanding their behaviours, ensuring they're kept under control, supervising them when they're around other people, and keeping your dog safe around water. And, all those kind of things that you can do to help your dog feel safe and secure.
Great. Yep.
One of the things is getting your dog used to going to the vets. And Betty has such a bad experience with this a few years ago that it's only recently that we've sort of managed to get her feeling a bit more comfortable around her vet. It's taken time, but that just stood out at me, because I thought, there's lots of dogs that hate going to the vets, and
it's awful.
What you can do. And then, there's stuff around being a good citizen. So I think that's where the kind of the human bit comes in, making sure that your dog's got a collar and a tag, and making sure your dog is microchipped, cleaning up after your dog. I think I read an article the other day which was saying, why does London have such a dog poo problem?
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's got quite bad.
Wow.
And I've definitely seen a lot more dog poo around.
Have you come across any white dog poo yet?
Oh no! What causes
no, just
white dog poo?
When we was we always talk about it. It's always a thing. I think in the 80s or 90s, because picking up dog poo wasn't a thing when we were young, and there was always white dog poo everywhere, and it was just the thing.
Well, there's a few hard-looking ones about, but I'm yet to see someone who doesn't pick it up, but I see also lots of poo around. So there are people that are just like, we all get into that we all have that moment where we're like, have we got enough poo bags? My dog's doing a few more poos than it normally would. Like, I only packed 3 in my pocket, and now I might need 4. So and then it also just talks about sort of that lifetime commitment that you have to a dog. Things, if your life circumstances change, things like, if you have a new baby or a child in your home, or, your dog in time to come may need veterinary care, and you're thinking about like unexpected vet bills or lifelong medical conditions. So just a really nice guide. It's really clear, lots of things to sort of think about. Some of it's obvious, but some also then things that you think, yeah, okay, hadn't quite thought of that. So yeah, I just thought it was a really nice document to flag if people are interested in reading it. You can find it online through the RSPCA website.
Okay. Good. Nice one. Yeah, I think everybody who has an animal should be given a guide, because I was thinking about this, funny enough, thinking about it, I think last night, because I had a rabbit like after uni and didn't get any kind of information on how to take care of it. And I don't think I should have been allowed out of a pet shop without a small little handy book that just made it really easy and accessible as to like what they like, what they don't like, what you need to feed them, what works them. And it, we've talked with quite a few people. So we had Huns Buns on, Carrie. I had your friend Laura talking about hamsters. I want that information, not pet shop information. I want really detailed good welfare information from good places that the pet shop, if you're buying them from there, should provide you, so that you get the best insight into whatever animal you're getting hold of. It shouldn't just be, here's an animal, go away, good luck. Because you don't know if people are going to go and seek out information. The proactiveness of going to find information like this, it should be given at the point of adoption, or rescue.
Yeah, and actually you've reminded me about a news story that I saw recently where a Labour politician wants people to take short training courses before they can own a rabbit as part of animal welfare reforms in Wales. So you just touching on, you shouldn't have been let out of the pet shop with a rabbit without this kind of information or this opportunity to do that sort of training. So yeah, a call for people to be restricted from becoming owners until they can show that they understand the needs of rabbits.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, that rabbits are among the most neglected pets in the UK, and bunnies can be currently bought too easily with too little understanding of their needs. So yeah, I think training and education doesn't have to be boring either, does it? It doesn't have to be something you think, oh,
could
gosh,
be really
that's going to take a lot of
exciting.
time. Yeah, it can be, just something that you, like you say, can do while you are having a cup of tea, putting your feet up, just chilling out. Take the time to do a bit of research before you get your pet.
We talked about what's happening. Was it in France where they're making these education compulsory in schools, like basic animal care? Yeah. Why don't they just do that? It'd be a lovely thing for young kids to learn about just basic animal care from just little day trips out and little kind of activities that they do in school. That could be so fun. And like, who doesn't love talking about animals? So that could be just a really fun, accessible way to bring young kids up knowing that knowledge from a very young age and then taking care of their subsequent future pets in a much better way than we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that,
can be like the equivalent antenatal care for pets. Yes. So if you know you're getting a new pet is arriving into your life, it'd be great if there was kind of a sort of a mandatory course.
The majority of people are going to have a pet during their lives, aren't they? So it's going to meet I don't even know what the percentages are, but it must be more than 50% of people in the world have an animal, surely. Yeah. So, yeah, do it, for God's sake.
Do it. Yeah. And hopefully we're not lecturing anyone here. We're just,
I am.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Do it, people. Natalie said.
Better flipping care. I should have done it myself.
Yeah, well, same here. Yeah. You live and learn, and, we're still learning, which is part of the point of this podcast. So
yes.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I think we've covered some juicy topics today, and as always, we're really keen to hear from our listeners if there are things that you would like us to explore or to talk about or to do some research on and to bring it back to our podcast and share some insights or some thoughts on that topic. Do let us know.
I also have to say a very great big thank you for everybody who's following and subscribed, because we've got a lovely load of people on YouTube recently. So thanks for joining the gang, everyone. Hope you're enjoying what you're listening to.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see you next week
time.
Where we'll have Cat Show Live. Lady Come On is going to talk to us about the cat show. Is that right, Sash?
It is, Cat Show that we're attending in September. So we're going to chat to Sam, the founder of the Cat Show Live, just to learn a bit more about what's involved and what goes on behind the scenes to make the Cat Show Live a success. So tune in. Yeah, thank you.
Until have a lovely week. Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.